If I could have your attention here in the Media Center, we will go ahead and begin today's media availabilities for Sunday's Firekeepers Casino 400 in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And we're joined by driver Daniel Suarez, the number 19 Stanley Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Daniel, here last year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, historic win for you. Really seemed to me it got you going for your championship run. What's it like being back here at Michigan in a place where you had such a great victory, now in a Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series car?
Well, it's going to be, I guess from last year on, I think it's going to be always a special place. The first one is always a very, very special one, as you know, and the way that we got that victory here just a year ago, it was very good, and obviously, like you just mentioned, it gave us confidence and momentum to move forward and to keep working to eventually be able to get the championship. So very happy to be here. I'm a little disappointed I'm not racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but we're going to have some fun in the Cup Series, and I'm looking forward to hit the racetrack. It's a little cloudy out there, and I feel like that is going to give us a lot of grip in the racetrack. So we're going to see some crazy speeds getting into the corner 1 and 3.
Okay, let's go ahead and open the floor up for questions. If you have a question for Daniel, we'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start here in the middle and work our way around.
Hey Daniel, now that you're a big movie star and all, I'm wondering how much you're looking forward to the debut of Cars 3.
I'm really looking forward to the movie for sure. I had the opportunity to watch the movie already a few weeks ago, and you know what? I was so excited because, well, first of all, obviously because I'm a little part of the movie, and as well because the story of the movie has a lot to do with NASCAR, and that's great. That's great. I really feel like the movie goes hand with hand with NASCAR. So that's something very, very cool as a driver to be part of a movie that takes the sport with everything. So very excited for you guys to be able to watch the movie as well and to enjoy it.
We're going to go to your left to Colton, and then here to the middle to Zach.
Colton Wood, Auto Week. For those kind of following you on social media, they might have saw your subway experience yesterday. How cool was that and funny?
You know, it's always funny to have my dad here because obviously he does speak a little English. He's able to understand, and he's able to communicate. He won't get lost, everywhere he goes. But 6 years ago, when I was about to move to the U.S., I remember just like it was yesterday, and I used to tell him this all the time to my dad, that I wish I couldn't speak at least like him, because already my English was way worse than his, and now already that my English has been getting better and better. I I always make fun of him because I thought that his English is pretty bad. So he always remind me, hey, remember when you used to say that you wish your English was like mine. So we're just having a fun time. He was trying to order a Subway, and he was having a hard time, putting the topics together, and I just made a little video there.
Go next to Zach, then to Chris.
Yep, Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Daniel, what's it been working with Scott Graves these past several weeks, and do you have any update on Dave Rogers and where he stands?
I mean, Scott has been doing great, just as I was expecting. He's a great guy. Outside the racetrack, we get along very well, and very smart person. The only thing that he needed, it was some time and to gain some experience in the Cup level as a crew chief. So I feel like he's doing great. I feel like we are getting better every weekend. We had a little hard time last weekend in Pocono, but that happens in every single race team out there. So I feel like overall we have learned a lot together, and we're moving in the right direction. About Dave Rogers, I just hope that he come back soon to Jockey Racing, to be part of the family. He's a great person as well, a great crew chief with a lot of experience, and and I hope he come back. So the last time I hear from him, he was doing much better, and things are getting better. So, you know, I won't be surprised if maybe he can come back to do something at the race team one day.
We'll go next to Chris, and then we'll go to Steve.
You want this one?
I'm just gonna yell it. Daniel, with Ryan Blaney scoring his first career Monster Energy Cup win last weekend, and we see Austin Dillon get his first win at Charlotte, do you think that you have the possibility of winning the season? Where do you think it could come?
Well, you know, seeing all this kind of victories always give you like a extra boost to keep working and keep digging, because obviously Ryan and I, we've been racing together for a long time, since the K&N days. Austin, obviously, we've been racing for a while in the Xfinity series, and it's very cool to see this new generation of drivers, you know, being successful in NASCAR. I was very, very happy for Ryan last week. That was an incredible race, an incredible win. And overall, I feel like we have to keep working in ourselves. We have to keep working in our race team. I feel like I say, we are getting better, but it's not easy. It's not easy to win race in the Cup Series. It's not easy at all. You have to get there, and then one day put everything together to get that win. I feel like now we are getting more comfortable running in the top 10. We have to, you know, keep working to make that top 10 being a top 5. And after that, I feel like we can have a shot every weekend. Once you start running in the top 5, you can be a contender.
Go to Steve.
Steve Slufka, WTVG Television. Daniel, stage racing obviously makes its debut here at Michigan, or at least for Michigan this summer. How do you see it playing out here this first time?
Well, this is a great place. Very, very fast racetrack that obviously give you options about what to do with tires and with the strategy and stuff. And stage races, you know, it just give you one more thing to think about, you know, how the race is going to play out. You know that for sure you're going to have a caution in the lap, whatever, and another caution in the lap, whatever. So I feel like in any racetrack it's been a truly success, and here in Michigan won't be anything different. It's going to be just as good as some of the other places.
Do we have any additional questions for Daniel Suarez? Daniel, good luck this weekend, bud.
Thank you, bud.
All right, good morning. If I can have your attention, please, we will continue our media availability. We are joined today by Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford Fusion. From Wood Brothers Racing, we have Eddie and Len Wood, the car owners. And from the sponsor side, we have Brett Wheatley from Ford Customer Service Division. We're all here today to talk about and unveil a new look on the 21 this weekend. And Ryan, I guess we'll start with you. Obviously, you are coming off a big weekend last weekend at Pocono, and now this weekend the fun continues with you with some new colors you're sporting. Talk a little bit about Omnicraft on your car this weekend, and touch a little bit more on that win last week and how cool that was for you.
Yeah, well, it's great to always kind of bring something a little bit new to the race team, and even though Omnicraft is part of Ford and Motorcraft, it's just something completely different. As before, where Motorcraft would be strictly Ford parts. Now Omnicraft covers everything. You can get it for any make or any vehicle, so that's great. And that's just kind of widening their expansion and kind of covering all sides of it. But it's honestly just nice to be back at the racetrack after this week, after doing all the media things, and it kind of distracts you from the task at hand. That's racing and your team, and it's just nice to be here and have a new little look with the Wood Brothers car, and we can't thank Ford and Omnicraft enough for jumping on board. It should be a good weekend. It's always really exciting anytime we can come up to Michigan. It's a big deal to try to win for Ford up here, and we're going to try to make that happen.
Brett Wheatley, Executive Director of for Omnicraft, Ford Customer Service Division. Ryan touched on it. This is a program that now opens the doors for people of all makes and models. Can you touch a little bit more on exactly what Omnicraft is and also what it's been like for you this last week as the sponsor on this race-winning car?
Sure, fantastic. Well, Omnicraft is a brand, as Ryan said, it's for all makes of vehicles. So Motorcraft is something that we introduced, and obviously it is a brand that everybody associates with the quality OE parts for Ford and Lincoln vehicles. Omnicraft's the first brand we've introduced at Ford Motor Company in 50 years. So now whether you're in a Toyota, you're in a Honda, whatever you're driving, we've got the part for you. And they're going to be available at Ford and Lincoln dealerships, as well as our over 800 quick lanes. And very soon they'll be at all the independent garages. If a customer chooses to go there, they'll know that they're getting great quality parts just like Motorcraft. And as far as last week, it was incredible. I was fortunate enough to have dinner with Ryan the Thursday before Pocono, and we were talking about Omnicraft being on the hood, and I said, Ryan, it would be really, really cool if you got that first career win when we land in Michigan at MIS. That'd be great if you can kind of make that happen. One of the things I love about Ryan is he always exceeds expectations, so he got a jump on it, and very, very special. It was an incredible race. I've been watching races for a long time, and I haven't seen a race like that, those final 10 laps, any better than what Ryan did. It was just incredible, and we're really proud of him. And it's been fantastic for our Motorcraft Quick Lane and now Omnicraft brand. So very appreciative, and very appreciative also of all the support from the Wood brothers to get win number 99. Very, very special for Ford Motor Company, too.
You touched on it just a little bit there, but it's no coincidence that you chose Michigan to unveil this brand, right?
Yeah, it's our backyard. We're going to have a lot of executives here. We're going to be hosting about 1,100 Ford employees on Sunday. So everybody wants to meet the teams, meet the drivers. So it's something very, very special to be in our backyard and have this win coming in here. It's just perfect timing.
Eddie, Len, you guys have enjoyed a lifelong relationship with Ford Motor Company. I think everybody knows the story, so it seems appropriate that when they roll out this new product that it's with you guys in the 21 car. Just talk about that relationship a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably the single most important thing to our family is the relationship we've had with Ford Motor Company. It started with our dad and our uncles in 1950, and we've never raced anything but Ford Motor Company products, and that's probably the biggest thing we're proud of in our whole organization is that. And we've been, through a lot of ups and downs through the years, and Ford Motor Company always was there. And now we have the Motorcraft Quick Lane brand that's on our car week to week, and to kick off this Omnicraft paint scheme with what that means, like if you're going to get great service at Ford, at Ford dealerships, at Quick Lanes. And if you don't have a Ford Motor Company vehicle, now you can take anything you got there, and they got the parts for it. So that's a really cool thing. It's a great idea.
All right, we're going to open it up now to questions. If you have a question for any of these gentlemen, please raise your hand. We got people walking around, and state your name and affiliation as well. Let's start right up here up front.
George Poley with the Macomb Daily. For Ryan, Eddie, and Len, by all accounts, the win last week was very popular with fans and in the garage, et cetera. Any of you, what was the best thing about the reaction, and what did that tell you about how people feel about the driver and the team?
I think all around, from teams to drivers to fans, it was all positive. And that's pretty cool to see. I don't think I saw one negative thing on social media, which is really neat. You don't ever get that, and it's really neat that everyone supports the Wood brothers like they do, and everyone wants to see them in victory lane. And for me, it's just a bonus to be driving for them. But I saw a really neat video of like a phone recording from the stands, and when we did our little victory lap, and everybody was on their feet cheering, and that was really cool for me to see the support that we had in the stands and at home on TV with people watching. So it makes me feel really good to know people support us that much, and that's pretty cool to see. You don't get that much nowadays.
Bob Pockris up front.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Ryan, what was the reaction to your you never really do a burnout, but maybe since you'd won your first Cup race, maybe people were expecting you to. What was the reaction from people? Did anybody ask you to do one?
I don't know. This year, I kind of decided I didn't really want to do one anymore. When I was younger, I used to do them and love them. They're fun to do, but I thought it was fitting not to do one in the Wood Brothers car because traditionally that's not how they used to do it. They used to just kind of go around there and wave at the fans, and I figured that's what we were going to do. And I really, probably the biggest regret of not having my radio working is I couldn't find you guys. I couldn't ask where you were and pick you up. That was the worst thing about it. But you know, I didn't really see any negative things either about not doing a burnout. Everyone thought that was pretty neat. So I thought it was fitting for the Wood Brothers team.
Any other questions? Let's go over here to Zach, and then Chris Knight.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Ryan, was there any kind of pressure on you, like heading into Pocono or anything like that? That, like, why haven't I won yet, and why haven't I been able to seal the deal? Does it relieve of any kind of pressure on you to be able to bring it home?
Not much. You know, I go into every weekend the same of just trying to focus what we need to do to try to win that weekend. You know, I know we've had a chance to win a handful of races, I thought, within over the course of a year and a half or so with the Wood Brothers, and things just haven't really fallen our way. And things finally, you know, all kind of came into place for us. But I didn't feel a pressure going in. I felt a little bit of a pressure lifted after that win because, you know, we had a really rough month and a half there in our season, and it was starting to look, you know, the playoffs were starting to look pretty shaky. And I tried to look at points too much, but it was getting down to, and there was 3 or 4 guys behind us who won races, and you know, they're going to jump ahead of us. And there's a lot of really good cars that we're racing with right now. That is going to be tough to string together some good races in these summer months. And that part was looking a little shaky, but it's, you know, that kind of relief of, all right, we're in the playoffs now, and now we can kind of relax a little bit, knowing that we're going to be in after Richmond. But you still, you know, you can't really go run 15th or 20th every week. You got to be running up front like we have been all year just to try to build your stock for the playoffs. But none before, but definitely after, I felt like a little bit was lifted off our shoulders.
Chris Knight.
Chris Knight, CatChance.com. Brett, I was just wondering if you could talk about the Ford products as a whole, the initiative and the sponsorship with the Wood Brothers, how it's paid off for Ford performance over the years, and for Ryan. How long did it take you to go through all the text messages, and is there any one that stood out in particular?
The sponsorship has been great. We've been tied with the Wood Brothers now since 2001, and they've just been phenomenal. We're proud to be associated with them. As Eddie said, they've only run Ford Motor Company products, so the fit is just fantastic. And we're proud to be old school. Whether it's the no burnouts or the radios aren't working, we're just really, really proud of the long-time relationship that we have, and it's been phenomenal for our brands. And what Ryan and the team have been able to do for us from a business standpoint this year, we look at the media value of what it's done for our brands, and it's upwards of $50 million right now. And what it does for our dealer body, and what it does for all those independent installers installing Motorcraft parts and our quick lines, everybody is just on an all-time high. And I wish all of you could have been in our Dearborn office Monday morning. I mean, we had flags flying, we had confetti, we had everything but some of the beverages that Ryan had on Sunday. So it was a great, great morning in Dearborn. So really, really proud.
Yeah, that wouldn't make for a good work day, would it, if you guys did that? But the text message you just said, yeah. So I didn't get back to my phone. I leave it in my bus before intros, and I called my dad first when I left the racetrack before I answered anything back. Just wanted to talk to him, and then I had about a 45-minute drive to the airport and sitting on the plane. We just sat on the plane for a while, and I was able to actually get through them all. It was a little bit under 200 of them, and I was able to get through them all before we took off. So I was pretty proud of that. I was able to sift through them all, and because I have my reds on, you don't want to leave anybody on red, so I had to respond to everybody, and no, it definitely made me feel good. But the most, I think the coolest one I got was, it wasn't a text, but Mario Andretti tweeted at me. I thought that was really cool. He said something about us and the Wood Brother team winning. That was probably the neatest one I saw online.
In a few minutes, we're going to head out to Victory Lane, where we can all get a look for the first time at this paint scheme that Ryan will drive this weekend, and also it will be on the car in Kansas in October. But before we do that, Eddie and Len, I just wanted to ask you, it dawned on me, 99th win last week. You guys have enjoyed success in the past. At Michigan, you're in the manufacturer's backyard for Motorcraft, Quick Lane, Omnicraft. Can 100 happen this weekend?
I don't know. You never know. I mean, we're going into Pocono, I felt like we were going to really run well, but, you know, you never know when you're going to win a race, or if you've won your last one, you just never know. And, you know, it'd be great to win 100 here. I think Cale Yarborough won this race, the very first race they ever held here. I think it may be a picture of it right over there on right over there on the wall. So it would really be cool to do 100 here. With the, you know, it being in Ford Motor Company's backyard, Motorcraft's backyard, it's just been an honor to win up here.
Yeah,
You have a question back there?
having Kyle Busch, having to pass him, I think Ryan did a great job of that. And then here comes Harvick, you know, so that was two champions that he beat. So very happy.
Yep, special indeed. Let's go to the back of the room.
Thank you. Steve Schweitzer of the Lasco Press. Brett, when will Omnicare parts, or Omnicraft, I'm sorry, parts be available at dealerships and at local parts stores?
We started shipping Omnicraft the first of the year, so they're in the dealerships right now. We've got a great supply. We've got all the major maintenance items right now: brake pads, rotors, starters, alternators. So we're well stocked, and by the end of the year, we're going to have coverage for 90% of all the vehicles that are on the road. No matter what your product is, we're going to have coverage for you at our dealerships and at Quick Lane. So really exciting.
We got one more over here.
Coltonwood Auto Week. So with the next few days, it's going to be raining, cloudy, and then kind of on Sunday, it's kind of dissipate. What does that mean for the track conditions? Suarez talked about it earlier and said that, you know, it's going to be faster and more grip.
Yeah, well, you know, I know tomorrow doesn't look great, but maybe today we might get a little bit of practice in, I hope, and we were able to run this. I think we ran this lower downforce package last year here, so we were able to get a little bit of an idea of what it's going to be like here. But you know, the teams always make improvements to the cars and how they drive aero-wise from the year before, or actually even week to week. And you know, we have a small idea, but yeah, if it rains all tomorrow and we just jump on the track Sunday. Yeah, with all that rain, it just washes all the rubber off, and it makes the track really fast, and teams might not know how their cars are going to drive. So I think most of us are going to be in race trim today starting out before we swap over to qualifying trim, just because tomorrow looks so iffy. But I was saying we got lucky the last 2 weeks at Dover and Pocono are used to the biggest rain racetracks that we go to, and we were kind of due one, I guess. You hate to say that, but hopefully Sunday looks good, and we can get it in then.
All right, gentlemen, you look good in orange. We like the red, white, and blue, but the orange suits you. So let's go check out that car. Ryan, do you want to lead everybody out to Victory Lane, and we'll check out that car, get some photos. Everybody in the room is invited to follow us on out to the Victory Lane area where we'll unveil the car now. Thank you.
If I can have your attention here in the media center, we are now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Big news coming out this morning, Jimmie, that you've resigned for 3 more years for Hendrick Motorsports. Would you please walk us through your decision to give this another go-around?
Oh, yeah. I've said it many times. I'm very content with where I'm at in the race car, and just truly enjoy competing and love being on the track. So to have a 3-year extension is, you know, makes me smile, makes me excited about the future, and just can't wait to get in the car today and get out there and get to work.
Outstanding. We'll open the floor up for questions. We'll start here with Bob and work our way around.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Why 3 years? Do you feel like you only have three years left in you, or was that only just the length that you wanted to commit?
No, in you know, previous extensions I've had, I don't know, 5 years and 2 years, and I guess just the general conversation, this one's been 3 years. I've said it before and continue to say that, you know, when the fire does go out, I'll step down. I don't have any framework now on a timeline. I just know that I've got 3 more years of trying to go out there and win championships and win races, and I'm as hungry as I've ever been and as focused and dedicated on doing my job. So, we'll see how these 3 years go. And certainly from my standpoint, I hope to collect another big trophy and then lots of other race trophies along the way and have some fun.
Jimmie, before we go to additional questions, I want to ask you about, it's not just you coming back for 3 years, but also Lowe's coming back on board, and your name and Lowe's being synonymous with one another. How's that to have that kind of relationship continuing forward?
It's amazing. I mean, when you really think about probably 4 or 5 points, the long-term relationship with Lowe's, and have them back on for another full season is incredible and a huge statement. Chad Knaus, Chevrolet, Hendrick Motorsports, Jimmie Johnson, to have this long of a run together and to know that we're going to stay together is super special for sure.
Okay. We'll continue on. Questions, please raise your hand. We'll get that wireless microphone to you. Questions for Jimmie Johnson?
All right, I did well.
We'll go back to Bob, then to Lee, then to Chris.
Have you convinced Chad to stay through 2020?
I think I've got another year to try to convince him. He has another year on his contract, and I'm sure discussions will take place about an extension for him. But he at least has another year, and I've started this with him, and I've said it before. I want to finish it with him, so I'll keep leaning on him. Those crew chief years, I've liked to call them dog years. I have I don't have a clear picture on where that'll take him, but I'll do my best to keep him around as long as I can.
We'll go to your left here to Steve, then to Lee, then to Chris.
Jimmie, obviously there's a surge of no, you're good. There's a surge of young drivers driving well. What stands out to you about this youth movement?
Gosh, there's so much. It's hard to pick just one, but they're the excitement that they bring to each and every race. I think the fans are getting a real treat watching these young guys figure out how to get to victory lane. It's not an easy process. I was there in my rookie year and in my early years, and you can still remember, the stress, the frustration at times when you don't capitalize on an opportunity, and then the elation when you are able to pull it off. So, proud of all the young guys coming along, and think that our sport's in great hands looking forward.
Go to Lee, then to Chris, then to Robbie.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Looking ahead 3 years, what do you expect Hendrick Motorsports to look like over that period of time? There appears to be big changes coming there. You said Lowe's is signed through 2018. This sport is shifting. What is their? I mean, clearly their history will make you comfortable being there. But what do you see as the changes that you have, the stability that you've known throughout your career at Hendrick Motorsports?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is just knowing how much Mr. Hendrick loves to win, and his commitment to winning, his commitment to Hendrick Motorsports. The sport's always changing and evolving, and how we win and how we stay on top has changed so much since I started in 2002, and I have full confidence and trust in him and where he takes the team. So, sitting in closed door meetings, I know that there's a lot of options being explored, and I know in Rick's heart it's all to, put the best 4 cars on the racetrack for Hendrick Motorsports and win races and championships. So, it's hard to tell where it's going to go, but my faith is in Rick. Absolutely, yep.
We'll go to Chris, then to Robbie, then to Reed.
Chris Knight, catchfans.com. Jimmie, congratulations on the extension.
Thank you.
Is there anything to make of Lowe's extending just through 2018? Do you expect them to hang with you through 2020? I think that's the initial reaction from the fan base.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We've come through so much together. Clearly, I'm not the one negotiating those contracts. It's not really in my department, but we do have them for 2018. I guess it would be 17 seasons together, and I certainly would hope and think that it would go on further. But I'm very excited to have a 1-year contract with them now, and 38 races, at a full-time primary sponsorship is nothing to sneeze at.
Robbie, then to Reed, then to Chase.
Robbie Mays in morning. Jimmie, 83 wins, 7 championships, 2 Daytona 500s. You've got another 3 years on the current contract. What is there next for you? What's your next goal that you want to accomplish in this sport?
I've never honestly been driven by stats, and I've said it so many times. but it's hard to ignore where I sit on the wins list and not let my competitive spirit kick in and want more. So certainly would love to climb further up the ladder there. 8 championships. I would love to stand alone at that, but that's all predictable and easy stuff. You know, for me, it's really about racing. I just love to race, and the experience I have with my engineers, with my team, with Chad, that bond and that experience, combined with the experience of driving and competing, is there's a high in that I've chased my entire career, and that's still why I get in that race car. And someday when that fades, that's when I'll step down. It's not going to be because of stats and where I rank or how many championships I have. It's all about that experience in the car, and that experience is as cool as it's ever been, and I'm really enjoying it right now.
Go to Reed, then to Chase.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. So to follow up on Bob's question, there's no significance to read into the fact that it's 3 years at this point, and basically you're not saying this is my final contract, that you intend to go beyond that if the fire still burns.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, in all fairness to the questions and to myself, any contract I sign right now with my age is probably going to raise questions. So I get it, but I don't have a vision of if it's 3, if it's 5, if it's 7. I don't know. But I do know I'm having a great time, and I don't want to stop right now.
Okay. Go to Chase, and then we'll go to Danielle. Go ahead, Danielle.
Oh, I thought we were doing something else first. Sorry. Hi, Danielle, WTOL 11. You do a lot of triathlons. You stay pretty in shape, I guess. Do you feel that played any role in making you want to do a 3-year extension? And do you think that's kind of what's helped you have so much success in your career?
Yeah, I feel like we all evolve as individuals, and then through our professional life, personal life, and figuring out how to balance the stress of professional life, especially, and then the challenges of personal life and being a father of 2. I feel that fitness has made me physically stronger, and I think helps me in incidents like I had in Pocono, where I'm in good shape and my body could withstand an impact like that. But there are so many takeaways about having a departure in some way from the grind of the sport, and using triathlon to get started, and certainly all the cycling I'm doing now. I'm excited for Saturday afternoon when the garage closes, because there's some awesome roads to go right around here. And instead of being stuck in that motorhome for 10 hours again, for the 16th year in a row at Michigan in June or July, whatever it is, I'm going to go explore and go see and have a good time. So, it's there's been so many physical takeaways that I've been able to apply to my job, but honestly, the mental side is really paying off in just having an outlet. And I have to say, just to pull it back to an individual that kind of sparked my mind on all this was Mark Martin. We watched Mark race deep into his career and be super competitive, race for championships into his 50s. I don't think I've got that in me. From a time commitment standpoint, to go deep, or to go into my 50s in racing, but there was something there that I saw, and he tried to express it to me about how sharp it kept his mind, how it was great to have something outside of the traditional racing schedule to keep him occupied, and I've been able to tap into that myself.
One more quick one. Even though this just came out today, I guess, do you have some goals in mind of what you'd like to see yourself, or how do you want to grow as a driver maybe in the next 3 years? Do you still feel you have room to grow?
Yeah, there's always room to grow as a driver. We have so many things change, rules packages, tire construction is always evolving, that you have to change the preparation side and the debrief side, and just being as buttoned up as you can week in and week out. How you drive the car has evolved and changed. And then I feel with my tenure at Hendrick Motorsports, there's something inside of me to really help my teammates and to help the overall cause for Hendrick Motorsports. Spent a lot of time, obviously, with Chase over the years. Been able to help Dale recently. Been able to help Casey. There's a lot of satisfaction that comes in that, and to help Hendrick Motorsports, and I see that kind of growing as time goes on.
Chase?
Chase Will on FoxSports.com. Jimmie, Rick Hendrick has a history of keeping long-lasting relationships with sponsors. Excuse me. Like, for example, Jeff Gordon and DuPont Exalta. What is it about Rick that allows him to do that, to keep sponsors on board like Lowe's and others?
You know, the culture and winning success at Hendrick Motorsports is probably the cornerstone of that. But, you know, Rick is a businessman, and through his connections through the automotive business and through life, I think he can offer more than just a marketing relationship with a sponsor. There's a lot of business-to-business work that takes place. Technology world continues to grow, and there's partnerships that grow there and benefit more than your traditional marketing program. So I put, you know, a fair amount of weight in that, and just his abilities as a businessman to see outside of just a marketing program.
Go to Bob, and then we'll finish up with Lee.
Bob Hocker, ESPN. Do you have any guarantees over the next 3 years that your brakes are going to be good? And I mean, are you concerned about? There have been several big crashes this year as a result, not just yours, with brake problems.
Yeah, you know, the brake issues. I've had issues at Dover. I'm not Dover. At Pocono before, and it surfaced again. You know, we do have a new element with the lower downforce on the car, and that contributed to our problem. And then I just used the brakes too much. So I've got to take some responsibility in that, and my driving style lends to aggressive braking. And we'll make sure that we have a beefed up braking system going back to Pocono here shortly. But, you know, the environment has changed, and with a long straightaway into turn one at Pocono like that and a low downforce package, it just put more of a burden on the brake system than we anticipated.
Lee?
Lee Spencer, motorsport.com. Did you have a lifetime contract? I mean, are you allowed to stay there as long as you want? Just so, you know, the people that say, well, Jeff Gordon had a lifetime contract, you can stay there as long as you want. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, it's you know, I've had some discussions, and I think that was in play at one point in time, but we just elected to go a different route. And, you know, Rick and I have always said to one another on our word that, you know, I always have a spot at Hendrick Motorsports, and I've always told him I'm never going anywhere. So instead of it being necessarily a statement and shown through a lifetime contract, we've just had a handshake and an agreement amongst friends that, you know, I've got a car, and I've always told him I'm never going anywhere.
And as far as this new generation of drivers coming in, even though you're so physically fit and what have you, and you've extended your career, do you anticipate that this next generation will be there in their 40s like you are in Kenseth and Junior, et cetera?
I think that the lifespan is getting shorter. Racing into your 50s or late 40s, I don't think generationally it's gonna continue to go that way. But then there are guys, you know, when you look at Kyle Larson's love of racing anything and everything, you could work up a discussion that he'll race till he's Red Farmer's age. Or you can maybe say he's probably going to hit burnout at some point in time and maybe stop sooner. I don't know. But, you know, as long as people are having fun and you can balance your personal life and your professional life, I think that gives you a long runway. And it's just not easy to do. You know, when you start off in your 20s or teens, you know, it's so easy to have racing be number one. You grow so much as an individual through your 20s and into your 30s. Most people start a family then, or get married, then a family. You know, there's just a lot of growing that goes on over that period of time. And for me, I've had, you know, not only great teammates at the track, but having a great teammate with Shani and my family being all in and supporting what I do, and it's allowed me to do this. So the decisions young drivers make in their personal life and the pressures they have that surround them, there's no telling where it's going to lead them. But you'll always have some guys that go deep. I think you will, but I guess, again, to answer your question, I think directionally it is getting shorter. You know, when you look at Junior stepping down, Jeff stepped, although he was here for a long time, 23 full-time seasons, you know, he left mid-40s. So I think that mid-40 mark's probably going to be more of a trend than late 50s or late 40s and into the 50s.
Well, Jimmie, congratulations again. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's all been good.
Alrighty, we'll continue with this morning's media availabilities here at Michigan International Speedway with 3 of our NASCAR Xfinity Series drivers driving in the Irish Hills 250. We have Cole Custer, driver of the 00 Haas Automation Ford, Matt Tifft, driver of the number 19 Tunity Toyota, and Tyler Reddick, driver of the number 42 BBR Jason Aldean Chevrolet. Cole, we'll start with you. 3 consecutive Sunoco Rookie of the Year race awards. Can you talk about your performances the last 3 races and your thoughts heading into Michigan this weekend?
Yeah, you know, we've had really solid cars the last few weeks, and we've made a lot out of it. I feel like, you know, at the start of the year we would have pretty fast cars and nothing would go our way, and now we have fairly fast cars and things are going our way. So I feel like we've been solid and stayed out of trouble and had good strategy, and that's what's kind of had our good run so far.
Great. Matt, we'll move over to you. You have 3 top 10s in your last 4 NASCAR Xfinity Series races, and you're making your track debut here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Michigan. Sort of a home track for you. I know you have a lot of family here. Can you talk about your excitement heading into the weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Growing up in around the Cleveland area, we would actually go watch racing with my family's car, a dirt late model up in Michigan. So I pretty much grew up watching and learning to love racing in Michigan. So it's I've probably been here 10 times before as a fan. I got to do the ARCA race last year here, but it's always special coming here, getting to see all your family and friends. Sort of a home track for me. Even though Mid-Ohio is a little bit closer, I've never seen Mid-Ohio before, so I guess I would consider this one more of a home track for me. So it's been, it's always cool to come up here and see everybody, and I got to hang out with some of them last night. So, but yeah, we've been able to get a couple strings of top 10s going, and I feel like the chemistry is finally starting to come together for our team. So that's exciting to see, and hopefully we improve even more on it this weekend.
Outstanding. Thank you. Tyler, we'll move on to you. You've driven in 5 NASCAR Xfinity Series races this season, and you're coming off your best finish of the season at Charlotte when you finished 10th. You'll be driving the next couple NASCAR Xfinity Series races. Can you talk about your expectations over those next couple races?
Well, hopefully we improve on that 10th place finish being my best. We've had really good speed over the first 5 races, I would say. Just unfortunately, 1, made some bad decisions. 2, been caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, especially at the plate tracks. So BBR Music Group Chevy's really fast. The guys, Chip Ganassi Racing, bring great race cars to the racetrack every single weekend. And when they've had Kyle Larson in there, who's doing really good in the Cup Series, the car's doing really good. So we know we got a couple variables out of the way. I just got to work on my my driving style a little bit, get adjusted to these low downforce cars here at Michigan in the Xfinity car. And fortunately, I have a rookie set to burn up and 2 hours of practice to get adjusted. So hopefully we take full advantage of that time.
Great. With that, we'll open up for questions. If you have questions for any of these 3 drivers, please raise your hand. We will get a wireless mic to you. Right here. Zach. We'll go to Lee.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com for Cole. How frustrating was the start to the season? Do you feel like the way you guys have performed and got the results the past few weeks that you guys have turned a corner?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit frustrating at the start of the season just because I felt we had pretty fast cars at a lot of places and just didn't really get the finishes. And in a way, it was exciting just because I knew we had fast cars and we were a new team and everything. So it was good to start out with some speed, but it's definitely been nice the last few races staying out of trouble and getting the finishes that we want.
We'll go to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. For all 3 of you, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned making the transition to the Xfinity Series?
Probably being patient. I mean, it's a longer race than the Truck Series, and just trying to be there at the end, and you just got to constantly remind yourself pretty much the whole race, and I'd say biggest thing's probably just patience.
I think for me, it's interesting having raced in the series last year to this year, the difference in the stage racing and our, the low downforce package this year. Last year, you had so many strings of long runs, and you knew you were going to work through different strategies to where you're kind of going more for endurance runs, to where you had to make your car work for the whole time. You got to attack and be on it now, but at the same time, you have to get your balance close enough to where you're fast on the short run, because the restarts are so important, especially with the stages now. So being able to learn how to restart and how to stay with the Cup guys and not let them get away from you on the restarts and keep them in reach, and learning how they build speed on the front side of runs has been huge for me. And I feel like as I get better at that, it will kind of help our overall runs because, once you get into a run, it's hard to make up time that you lose. But research is just so critical, especially this year with the stage races and bunching everybody up. So that's been the biggest difference for me, just from last year to this year in the Xfinity Series. It's kind of changed a bit.
Yeah, the cars drive a lot different than the trucks do. I've kind of had to take everything I learned from the truck and kind of put it over here in the corner and start from scratch. And the first couple races, the first race for me was Daytona. Then I had Phoenix, and then we went to Texas. And when we went to Texas, it was a repave, so it was really hard to say, is it just how these cars drive at all these tracks, or is it just Texas? And when we finally went to Charlotte, I finally got an idea what these cars really drive like, and I had to change a lot of things from when we tested there a couple weeks before the race, and then we tested at Darlington, and then we finally raced Charlotte. And I feel like I picked up a lot between those 3 times on track, and not quite there, but I'm a lot closer than I was. And obviously, when we come here to Michigan, there's going to be a lot to learn. Cars are going to be going a lot faster than you will at some of these mile-and-a-half racetracks. And, aerodynamics come into play, definitely on the mile-and-a-half tracks. People are getting loose without even having contact with one another at Charlotte, and it's only going to be worse here. So just got to keep that in mind, work on our car to be good on those first 2 stages. And then, I would be surprised at the last stage. If we do have a caution, I would be surprised. It could just go green. So I'm going to have to work on short run speed in the beginning of the race and maybe something mid to long run speed at the end of the race.
Additional questions for these 3 guys up here? I'll have one more. Tyler, I know it sounds like you're making your debut with MRN next week. Can you talk to us a little bit about that as an analyst?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I like to talk, so I'm going to enjoy that. It'll be a lot of fun being up there to commentate on the truck series. It'll be cool to, it's going to be weird, but it's going to be fun to watch the, BKR with Chase and Austin in those trucks. It'll be fun. Like I said, it'll be a new experience. Hopefully I do a pretty good job. It'll be fun up there with those MRN guys. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how I'll do. Hopefully I don't do too bad at it. So we'll see.
Awesome. Anything else? Okay, Chris, right here.
Chris Knight, CatchFans.com. Matt, how important was it to bounce back last week at Pocono after what happened in qualifying and get another top 10?
One of the weirdest situations I've ever had, for sure. Obviously, when you're presented with an issue like that, at first you're frustrated, you're confused, you're pissed off. It's just you gotta forget about it and get over it. And there's plenty of times where things happen that you got to start in the back of the pack. So we were able to work up. I think we passed 16 cars in the first stage and got ourselves back into the mix by about halfway through the race. So the hard part about that is, you're trying to get a read on the balance of the car through that first stage to make yourself better for the second half of the race. But as these guys know, it's just when you're stuck in traffic like that, it's so hard to get a true read on what your car's doing. Clean air at a place like Pocono is everything. Because you actually get a true sense of what your car needs. When you're stuck in dirty air, you're getting bad reads on it because there's just so many different cars that you have to get by and get around. So, luckily we were able to make a few strategy calls and try to stay out on old tires there and made it into the top 10, and we were able to stay there. So that was great, but obviously you wish you could start up there and be able to contend more in the top 10 other than having to fight back from adversity, but makes it fun sometimes trying to get around everybody too.
Before we let you guys go, Cole, Matt, as Tyler's going to be broadcasting next week. Is that something you guys would ever be interested in doing too? Or?
I don't really talk very well, so I think it would be interesting. I think I would want to do it, and I'd like to get better at it. But it would be interesting. I think it would be fun.
I don't think I'd be the best play-by-play announcer. I think Tyler would be better at it.
I don't know. The only way to get better at it is to try it and see how it pans out.
Yeah.
But,
I'm impressed, Cole. You said well instead of good, so your grammar's all right there. So I think you're talking all right.
We'll go to actually Claire, and then we can wrap up after that. Right here in the front.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I just wanted to add that, Cole, even though you're shy about talking about yourself, when it comes to analysis, I've found that you really are talkative and very good at it. Don't you think it'd be interesting to do analysis, and that I think you'd actually be very good at that?
Yeah, I think I could definitely. I feel like I talk about racing all right. It's just I can definitely get better at it like all of us can. But obviously it would be pretty fun to do though.
Cool. Well, thank you guys and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.